Picture this. You're at the height of fame, touring the world with one of the biggest pop groups ever, and the man who would become your husband has to literally jump out of a hotel window just to keep your relationship secret. This is the real story of Victoria and David Beckham. And trust me, it's nothing like the fairy tale you think you know. We all know them as Posh and Becks, the ultimate power couple, 26 years of marriage, 4 beautiful children, a fashion empire, and a football legacy that changed the game. But what you don't know are the moments that almost broke them, the secrets they kept, the rumors they endured, and the painful truth Victoria just revealed about the darkest period of their marriage. In a raw, emotional interview on the Call Her Daddy podcast, Victoria Beckham opened up like never before, and what she said, it'll change how you see their love story forever. Let's rewind to the late 90s. Victoria Adams, Posh Spice, was one of the most famous women on the planet. The Spice Girls were conquering the world, and she was living the dream. Then she met David Beckham, a rising football star with Manchester United. Handsome, talented, and completely smitten. But here's the thing. Their romance wasn't some glamorous red carpet affair. It was messy, it was real, and it was kept under wraps. Victoria recently shared this hilarious story. During a Spice Girls tour in Manchester, she snuck David into her hotel room. The next morning, he had to jump out of the window to avoid being seen. Yes, you heard that right. Jump out the window. And it gets better. David ended up with blisters on his feet from doing the walk of shame in his clothes from the night before. He even had to skip football training because of it. Can you imagine one of the greatest footballers of all time missing practice because of blisters from a midnight escape? But here's what makes this story so beautiful. Victoria said David fitted in seamlessly with the Spice Girls. He wasn't intimidated by her fame. He wasn't insecure. He was just there, supporting her, loving her, even when she was more famous than him. But not every chapter of their story is filled with laughter. In 2003, the world turned against them. David was playing for Real Madrid in Spain. Victoria and the kids stayed in the UK. They were living separate lives. And then the rumors started. Allegations of affairs. Tabloid headlines screaming scandal. The media circus that wouldn't stop. Victoria didn't name names in the podcast, but we all remember. Rebecca Lewis, David's former personal assistant, claimed they had a 4-month relationship. Sarah Marbeck alleged explicit messages and more. David denied everything, but the damage was done. And here's where Victoria's honesty hits you right in the chest. She said, "It was the most unhappy I have ever been in my entire life." Think about that for a second. This is a woman who had everything: fame, fortune, a family, and yet she felt completely alone. She continued, "We were against each other. Up until Madrid, it felt like us against everybody else. But in Spain, it didn't even feel like we had each other." Have you ever felt like that? Like the one person who's supposed to be your rock suddenly feels like a stranger? Victoria called it an absolute circus, and she said something so painfully honest. Everyone loves it when the circus comes to town, unless you're in it. She resented him. She admitted that. And during that time, they weren't just fighting the world. They were fighting each other. Now, here's where the story takes an interesting turn. In her recent podcast appearance, when the host asked Victoria to explain how she and David handled the affair rumors, Victoria started to answer. She talked about celebrating 26 years of marriage. She said people told them it wouldn't work. She acknowledged they've been through hell. But then she stopped. She pivoted, changed the subject, steered the conversation back to her eating disorder, a topic she'd been discussing earlier. Why? Maybe because some wounds are still too raw. Maybe because she's said all she needs to say. Or maybe she's just protecting what they've rebuilt. Because here's the truth. Victoria and David chose each other again and again. She said, "We've had so much thrown at us, and we've always just been there together. We've ridden the storm." And in that documentary from 2023, the one where she first opened up about those dark days, David stood by her side. He didn't shy away. He didn't make excuses. They faced it together. So what can we learn from all of this? Victoria and David's story isn't perfect. It's not a Hollywood romance. It's real life, with all its messiness, pain, and imperfection. But it's also a story of resilience. 26 years, 4 kids, countless challenges, and they're still standing. Victoria also opened up about her eating disorder in that same interview, something she's now discussed with her 14-year-old daughter, Harper. She wants young girls to know they're not alone, that even someone who seems to have it all together has struggled too. That's vulnerability, that's strength, and maybe that's the real lesson here. Not that Victoria and David are perfect, but that they're human, and they've chosen to keep fighting for each other, even when it would have been easier to walk away. So here's my question for you. What does it take to make a relationship last in the spotlight? In a world that's constantly watching, judging, waiting for you to fail? Victoria said it best. We've ridden the storm, and maybe that's all any of us can do. Ride the storm. Hold on to the the people we love and refuse to let the circus tear us apart. If this story moved you, hit that like button, drop a comment below. Have you ever had to fight for a relationship when everything seemed to be falling apart? I'd love to hear your story. And if you want more deep dives into the real lives behind the headlines, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because trust me, there's so much more to uncover. Thanks for watching. And remember, everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, be real, and ride your own storm with courage.